So we've got 2 virtual machines hopefully up and running, maybe even on the same networks. Up and running. So, yep, recording started. Good. Working properly anyway. Yep, attached to NAT's, loving it. Let's see if that works. I might as well take the roll while I'm doing that kind of stuff. So, there might be a few people running a bit late. Now, Metasploitable. Do we need to log into Metasploitable at the moment? Look, you don't even need to log in right now. Okay. First thing we're going to do is, oh, there we go. It's kind of crazy. We're going to run a little bit of a scan on it and see what we can find. Now, I noticed a few people did a scan earlier on it. So what are we going to need to be able to do a scan on it? Well, the only thing we would basically need to be able to do a scan on it is what? Its IP address. Is there a way you could do a scan without knowing its IP address? What do you guys think? Is there a way you could do a scan without knowing its IP address?
You can do a scan of the subnet.
Yeah, look, you could scan the actual network, right? So we've got as long as we're part of the same network, we wouldn't.
Or you can look up the ARP table on the machine.
Right, so we could use something like Nmap, right, as Josh Greenwood has put there, to try and scan the whole network, right? And try and see what's out there. It would take a little while. You could look up the ARP table, says Mr. Caffrey. All right, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
So how would I look up the ARP table? What would I do in Linux? That's what you do in Windows.
Yeah, I forget.
That's Windows's command. You can see nicely there. ARP -A tells me all the different stuff that it's found. Look, it hasn't necessarily found everything on my network, by the way, right? These are the devices that are connected to sort of Wi-Fi. We found a few things in our broadcast.
And things that you've interacted with or pinged or tried to ping.
Yeah. So
that was always my trick. You know, if I ping something and then check ARP to make sure that there's definitely nothing on that address in a network.
Yeah, that would try and work. Look, Nmap is probably one of the easier ones, I guess, or sort of a good scan kind of stuff. We can even do some OS detection and stuff like that. I'm going to do. Yeah.
I just did a quick search. There's ARP scan, ARP-scan in Kali. Or okay, maybe not on this VM.
That's it. Not on my VM. I've got all these ones. These are the commands I've got. Now, one of the first things I also typically recommend, now, and this is why we've used a NAT network. If you don't want to do these kinds of things, or you're not too sure about the network that you're on, or like, you know, or especially if you're not sure about the virtual machine that you're on and stuff like that, what I normally suggest is do something like an internal network, right? Which will make it so that way they can't talk to the internet, right? Or to your greater network kind of stuff, right? But by being on a NAT network, we've got one little advantage. We can run a bit of an update. Now, has anyone tried to run the update on the Kali? up-A works with sudo. IP nice show, yeah. And one of the first things is you'll probably find there might be some packages. I think this one was updated a little while ago. I've got about 631 packages to be upgraded. How many do other people have? How many do you guys have? $789, Ben's going for the record.
Mine's not connected to the internet.
Yours is not connected to the internet. Okay, that's not a bad thing, right? Like, you know, you're just stuck with what you've got there, though, then. That sounds like that was a deliberate kind of thing, especially with that little smile on your face. You're like, yeah, I don't trust it. Is it that you don't trust it, or you just don't want to do anything else?
No, it's just that's the way I'd set up the network between the two. Although I'm really curious about what actually happens if you do let Metasploitable onto the internet, because everywhere you read about it, that's what they say. So I'm really curious to find out now.
Look, if you put it on the internet, you can actually relatively easily put it on the internet. Just whack it in your DMZ on your network or something like that. Especially if you put it live, about 15 minutes, you'll find that it's been scanned and people have broken into it. Typically, it's about 15 minutes average time to break in. There's nothing that, honestly, there's nothing that really happens. What they do is they break in and they trash it, or they, like, you know, change web pages and stuff like that. And then what do? You delete it. You know, it's just a VM or something like that, or some bare metal. But if you haven't put it into a VM or something like that, the biggest issue is a lateral move. So they make it into your machine and then they move to a machine that you actually want to protect. And that's the issue. It's not the Metasploitable itself. It's that they can then use that to migrate into your network kind of stuff.
But if you're behind a firewall, then you would be protected, even if you're giving it internet access, correct? Because they're coming inbound.
Yeah, so
if you're natting out of the firewall, then
yeah, but if they use something like a reverse SSH tunnel and stuff like that, then they can do everything from there as well. So they can then pass stuff through. So it's more like you can use it as a jump point further into your network.
Okay, I got you.
That's the big issue. If you've segmented it properly, it won't cause a problem anyway. But most people wouldn't do that kind of stuff. Or if you get one little thing wrong, it'll cause problems. Yeah. So 789, most people only got 789. Okay, let's go sudo up-A. Let's try that for a second quickly. Look, I didn't get anything though. All I've got is my gateway, right? So I haven't found anything like that. IP nay show. Dean, that's more like a router or switch command, isn't it? But not really giving me much. Sudoing it won't make much of a difference either. Look, we haven't interacted with it yet, so we don't have a network, and basically we haven't heard anything from it yet either. That's the other thing for it. Okay, so like what would you do to try and run an upgrade? Look, you will normally see something like sudo apt upgrade as the command. Now, I typically suggest don't actually run that as your upgrade command. I suggest dist-upgrade. I find it fails far less with Kali than sometimes running apt-dist or app-upgrade will break Kali basically because it's a rolling distribution. And 9 times out of 10, I find dist-upgrade won't break when upgrade has worked. So that's just a handy little hint kind of thing that I've seen. You're welcome to run it or something. Look, it'll take about 5 or 10 minutes to go. So I'm going to choose no for this moment. But you can see there's a lot of different stuff. If you have run the upgrade, or if you are running the upgrade right now, won't make a difference, right? You'll still be able to do stuff. It's a rolling distribution, which means it's constantly being updated. If you check back in 48 hours or something like that, you'll probably find there's like 10 packages to be upgraded and stuff as well, right? If you choose no, look, no problem. It just says it's aborted. All right. So we haven't found it yet. We can scan, or we can look. We can very quickly and easily just try and take a look at the IP address. So 10.0.2.5. Right, that's exactly the same as what it was last time. That's the only time I'm going to use it. Just kind of getting started. Right. If we did an nmap, actually, move it in a bit so it'll be easier. Is that big enough for you guys to read? Are you okay with that? Anyone need it bigger?
Okay, Marcus.
Yeah, mine is connected to the internet. Look, Josh, doesn't matter if you've done it. It'll.
What's the gap? Sorry.
So yeah, mine's definitely connected. It's connected to the internet, but it's through NAT. So I'm technically behind 2 routers, right? Well, actually, in my network, I'm actually technically behind 3 routers. So there's a router between Carly and my actual computer, right? It's sort of in VirtualBox. There's a router there. There's then the router sitting between me, like my desktop, and I've got a Wi-Fi network that is a Google Nest or whatever it is, Google Home Mesh Wi-Fi, whatever they call it. And so that makes its own .86 network, 192.168.86 network. And then I've got my actual network after that. So there's technically kind of 3 routers between me and the internet.
You need that to get all these updates as well?
To be able to run the updates, you need to have it connected to the internet. So, for example, Mr. Forrest does not have it connected to the internet, so he can't run the updates. It'll just say something like, unable to fetch the downloads or something. But you don't need to update it. That's the thing. All right. So, look, our first step is let's just run a little port scan on it. So I'm going to say nmap. I'm going to go -P 0-65535. Why am I doing that?
You're scanning ports 0 to 65,535.
Correct. Right. So I'm scanning every port, right, on that machine. Right. Now, of course, your network IP address might be different. Those of you, especially that had the problems, I think it was Ben and who else? I think it was maybe Kathy, 1 or 2 other people, where you had to change your network and stuff like that. Make sure you're putting the right IP address. Right, so mine's 10.0.2.5. Yours might be 125 or something like that, or with .4, whichever one it is. And if you press enter, it'll go away and think about it for a bit. There you go, 3.5 seconds.
Are you putting in the IP address of the Carly machine or the other one?
No, the IP address of the remote machine.
Yeah, the Meta.
Right, so in this case, my Metasploitable. Let's see, is Michael Bell here yet? Actually, I'm just going to keep going with the roll. Now, I got 65,506 closed ports. Right, okay. But I got a number of open ports, right? All these open ports. Not particularly good, but, why would we have ports open? What's the whole point of having ports open? Is it bad, I guess, that there are ports open?
Connectivity in it. Speaking between both machines.
Yeah, look, the only way you can talk is, this is what we think of as layer 4. So the only way we can talk is if we've got some ports available, right? So, that's how we talk. So ports being open is not necessarily bad on itself. However, this number of ports is sort of interesting. And some of the ports that they're sort of leaving open, a little bit sort of, some unknown ones. So their one's running at quite a high number there. But it does mean the more you've got open, the more opportunities I have to do something. All right, so Mr. Harmon's not here. Hicks is here. So
Excuse me, Marcus. When I scanned my Metasploit, I got all scan ports are closed.
All scan ports are closed. Okay, yeah, good. So if you've got all scan ports are closed, it normally means you've scanned the wrong kind of IP address. Right? So there's nothing there. So you got something like that. Host seems down.
Yeah, because I can ping it, so it's pinging, no worries. That's just saying everything's closed. I'm scanning from Carly to.
So you've got the right IP address.
Yeah, got the right IP.
And
10.2.4.
And they're both on the same sort of network, like attached to the network kind of thing.
Yeah, attached to the same name, network name.
Did someone break in and turn your firewall on?
Now there shouldn't be a firewall on the Kali. Sorry, on the Metasploitable. Okay, and it's up and running. You've got the.
Yeah, it's up and running. I can ping.
All right, I might stop the recording quickly, and then and get you to share your screen.